I have made 3 videos to this day that have been like stepping stones for this video here today. You may have an idea of what game I want if you've seen my last 2 Pokemon videos. But who are we kidding? Of course you haven't. I truly believe Pokemon can become the best open world game out there. So what I'm gonna do today is telling you the story of how I will build my dream Pokemon game, just in design, because I don't know how to code anything. So I'm stuck to doing okay art for you. So let's stop stalling, subscribe, like and all that stuff, and let's get into how I will build Pokemon Aquamarine. So, first of all, Pokemon designs are not going to be criticized or anything like that. We are purely talking about game design, and I will be using an original region just to add what I think is missing in these couple last Pokemon games. Of course, Legends Arceus is our big Pokemon game when talking about design. We will respect it in the name of our Lord Arceus, and let's agree, no Pokemon game is perfect. Okay? The way we are going to tackle this video is I'm going to walk you through the beginning of the game, just as the game would, being the only linear part, with some information pauses here and there. Then, when we reach the open world portion, I'm going to start explaining how the game design would work in almost every single part. The world, the able team, the gyms, yada yada yada. Because I've been thinking about the design of how the game is going to work, but I never stop to think what is going to be happening on the screen. So let's take you to second 1 after you turn on the game. Once you finish telling the game how you look and designing your character, we cut to a Pokemon stadium, where a lot of people are chanting, and then from the center of the stage, a huge steam cloud erupts. It's Jade, the best Pokemon contestant in the region. Her Altaria does tricks while she rises, everyone in the stadium keeps chanting her name, and then everything comes to a stop. And she, with a microphone in hand, welcomes the Elite Four to the stadium. While they enter, we see a shot of the 12 gym leaders clapping at their entrance. Jade jumps on her Altaria and comes down to the stadium, where she gives the microphone to the Elite Four members. They welcome the people and presents a new challenger for the champion title, a very young prospect ready for battle, and then they present the current champion, with just 1 loss in her belt, by one of the Elite Four members, Pugna, the Alma region champion. She comes forward and accepts the challenge. You may be saying, yo, that sounds pretty familiar, and you'll be right, this is a straight up rip from Gen 8, because as much as I despise the experience that game is, and how little it did for the evolution of the games, I love how they use the gym leaders, how it felt like a big challenge everyone is shaking to see develop, how the battles are treated like football games, with people cheering, and how it all came together in the music. How Leon was this character expected to be the strongest and how that puts a clear goal on you. And I love how they use this aspect of him in the animated shorts. He knows he is expected to be the best, but he couldn't do anything in his time to protect others. And he was beaten by you, the player, and that puts a new weight on his back. We knew his time was over once he stepped into that stage with you on the other side, and how that affected his brother too. He was supposed to be as strong as Leon, but he isn't. Hate as much as you want on Hop, but they were trying something with him, something that I believe to be an amazing character work. It's a shame that they don't care about the story of Pokemon games, so because of that, it was half-ass character work, and we never saw it flourish. But whatever, what I wanted to say is, this good, and I want it in my game. Let's continue. After that, we see the battle of Pugna and the proposed new champion begin. Whilst it is going, the camera moves out of the action, revealing you, the character, watching the fight on TV, still in its pajamas. I really want this game to feel like the start of a journey, so our character is just turning the age when we are able to get our license. I want the player to live through the process of the initiation as a trainer, like in other games, but maybe with more build-up. That's why this is the only linear part of the game. While you're watching the TV, one of our mother's Pokemon comes to our room with a note in its mouth, reading, change and come downstairs as soon as possible. After that, we have the option to go to the closet to change from a limited selection of styles, and if you like your pajama look, don't worry, you can unlock it later. After you change, you go down the stairs where you can see our mother throwing us a surprise party with all our friends. As we can see, all of our friends have a partner Pokemon. They are 1 to 2 years older than us, meaning they have started their Pokemon journey already, except for one. Irene. Irene has been our rival since we were young, her birthday being 1 month before ours, but she is waiting for us to get our license so we could start our journey together. Pause! I know that I said Irene is our main rival, but I actually want all of our friends to be a potential rival. One thing that I like about Pokemon X and Y is that we have a wide range of friends, and not everyone wanted to be the best at battling, showing us that there is more to do in the Pokemon world other than battling. And I will tell you how I will add them to the story and overall experience of the game and the open world in a little bit. But okay, let's unpause, let's continue. As we say hi to everyone, our mom gives us a gift. A little box, and we open it and we see our own trainer's license. We get excited and everyone starts congratulating us and telling us how awesome it has been since they got their own trainer license. Then Irene takes out hers and tells us how she has been waiting for us to get it so we can start battling as soon as possible. After that, everyone is smiling and starts saying, "Go, go! Go to the professor's lab! Get your own partner!" Irene, being as competitive as always, tells us to make it a race. First one takes the strongest Pokemon. So you get out of your house and start running with Irene. Ojo, you are controlling your character through all of this. I want the player to experience all of this and not through just cutscenes or dialogue, making this feel like a race from Kingdom Hearts 1, for example. If you win, nothing major happens, but if you lose, haha, nerd, noob, Irene is never going to let you forget it in future dialogues. That's why you are running from your little house through the village to get to the lab. And as you do, you can see people gardening their plants with the help of their Pokemon. You can see people battling on the back, cooking, people brushing their fur. You can see at the distance people flying with their Pokemon. And the game is telling you, no, promising you that you will be able to do all of this in your own adventure. After that, we do the Pokemon thing. Select our starter, our rival says fuck you and picks the super effective one, we battle her, and after that, we are set. We meet with our mother and friends one last time, pick our backpack with a couple of helpful items for our journey, and we start our adventure. But Alpha! Alpha! Before we leave, we see an Alpha Munchlax destroying some houses in search of food. Call the Rangers! And before we know it, we throw our Pokeball and challenge it to a fight. And we start spamming the new move we got after our first battle, but it makes almost no damage. Then Munchlax retaliates with Tackle and gets our Pokemon to half its HP. Then after another attack, our Pokemon gets to 1 HP. And we are powerless. But then we hear a couple of Pokeballs bouncing on the floor, and we see the parent Pokemon of our friends. We turn around to see them ready to battle. Irene runs and gives us a potion for our Pokemon. As we heal, we see our friends trying to take him out. Then we and Irene start helping too. Munchlax is almost at half HP, and when we think we got this, it uses an AoE attack, bringing all of our Pokemon down to 1 HP. And when it appears to be over, in our first day as a trainer, a Salamence appears and takes down the Munchlax. It's the Rangers! They arrived just in time. The Ranger throws a Pokeball at Munchlax and catches it, making it a successful mission. The Rangers starts patrolling nearby the village to see if there isn't another Pokemon like that around, and with that, after a quick scolding from the Rangers and a sincere thanks for protecting the village, we go home and we think about what we just went through and wake up next day at the gate of our village, ready for what is to come. A beautiful adventure with the knowledge at the back of our heads that it may be more dangerous than what meets the eye. And with that, we finish the beginning of Pokemon Aquamarine. Before going on, let's have one more pause. I decided to tackle this scripted event at the beginning because, yeah, it's alright when someone tells you, "Hey, Alpha Pokemon are dangerous. Yo, kid, Alpha Pokemon are dangerous, remember that," and shit. And you build up in your head that, well, they are dangerous. And when you battle one, it can be a deception because it doesn't meet our expectation. But I decided to go with another route, making you live through it. I'm taking a page out of Final Fantasy VII. The whole game, you are being told that Sephiroth is a powerhouse, the best soldier, the best hero, and then you are told you're gonna have to fight him. And you could say, yeah, whatever, just another boss. But In the Nibelheim flashback, you actually live firsthand how powerful he is. He makes thousands of damage to the monster that attacks you, while you, in your most powerful state in the game until now, deal like 100 damage at best. So instead of the game just telling you that he is the most powerful soldier ever, you were there. You saw it with your own eyes. So you buy it. You know he's the baddest motherfucker around. And here you try to stop a low level alpha Pokemon with the help of your friends. But once you go out in your journey, you are by yourself. No one is going to rescue you if you challenge an alpha Pokemon. So now you know how strong they are, and you're going to think twice before going to a battle unprepared. So if you are like me, once you see one, you're going to go straight to it, get your ass destroyed, and learn your lesson like a good boy. And if you're asking, well, I went through all of that shtick, but what do I do now? Well, the answer is anything you want. The world is open for you, and based on what you do, the story and interactions will open up for you. The world is open, and we don't have to break our heads to think how it can work. We already have an open world Pokemon game, and an open area Pokemon game. It's a huge map with a lot of Pokemon that vary in level. There are places with stronger Pokemon than others. There are places with stronger trainers, and I like that, since they give you a goal that you can see with your own eyes, and it's reachable. One thing I will change is how catching Pokemon will work, and how you can interact with them in the overworld. So let's start with wild Pokemon. Of course, bring Legends Arceus catching mechanic back. Throwing Pokeballs is fun and is a no-brainer, and it makes your interaction with Pokemon more lively. Instead of just approaching every single one and starting a battle, some of them can attack you, some of them will run from you, forcing you to play in a more stealthy way around them, or equipping different, equipment to make it easier to you to go near them. So, we have to always be aware of the world and start learning about the Pokemon that live in it. One more pause, so I can explain myself. So, like I said, I want you, me, the player, feel like the playable character in Pokemon. They are embarking on a new adventure. They know just the basics about the Pokemon that inhabit the world. So, I want the player to start with almost no knowledge. What Pokemon run away from you? What certain Pokemon like to eat? Where do they live? How is the easiest or fastest way to catch them? We are going to learn why we advance in the game, as if we were really there. Little by little, we are going to learn about the world, the Pokemon, and we are going to have a better idea of how to move flawlessly through it. And this is going to link with a lot more of the gameplay aspects of this game. One other thing that will behave differently is the level of the Pokemon. In every Pokemon game, there is a certain level cap per area. For example, level 5 Pokemon at the starting area, then like 12 in the next area and blah blah blah. So you'll clean a full area and there is no reason for you to go back, right? Well, I want the world to feel more alive. So as we explore areas, we can see Pokemon from our level and above roaming. Meaning that there are going to be Pokemon that we are going to be not able to catch because of the level gap and how strong they are. But we see them, turning a light in our brain telling us that when we are stronger, we can go back to get those stronger Pokemon with greater value. Value, huh? And you may be thinking, okay, they are level 20 or 25, but what is stopping me from literally just chucking balls at it until it gets into the Pokeball? And now I got a 25 level Pokemon to destroy the game with. Well, this is the moment where I explain to you the design aspect behind lures and Pokemon value, because I already told you the world is going to be open for you to traverse since here, but I haven't explained to you how are we going to traverse the land of the Alma region, and what do I mean with the world value. Well, one thing that really bugs me in Pokemon games is the fact that you can catch everything the same way. You could say it's actually good design since the beginning you are shown how to do it, and you're prepared and have specific strategies to catch even the hardest Pokemon. But I find it really boring, since the good part comes when you catch the Pokemon. the process of catching it, it's boring. You can even see Poketubers speeding that process or just chucking Pokeballs and restarting until the 1% come true. And in Legends Arceus, you could just throw the lettuce things and catch everything by just spamming balls. But how about we make the process of catching Pokemon an investigation too? Like I said, we want to understand the world just like our characters, so we need to investigate how to catch Pokemon too. Those level 25 Pokemon in the first area ain't going to let you catch them because they are going to be on a defensive stand since the beginning. They are too powerful to be caught by just throwing a ball, so we need to lower those defenses with Pokelures. And what are Pokelures? In the beginning area you will find a trainer that will explain it to you, if you want. He will explain how certain Pokemon need to eat and smell certain things for we to be able to catch them. Some Pokemon are as easy as throwing a berry at them, like a Meryl, and you can start taking notes in your Pokédex of what berries works on what Pokemon. But after that, we reach tier 2 lures that need to be crafted. For example, fusing smelly leaves from certain plants that grows almost everywhere with an orange berry, and we tie them up with a web from any arachnid Pokemon. With that we have a lure to catch Emolgas. Since the smell will attract them, the berry will entice them to it and the web will lower their speed so they can't run away from us. And only after that we can throw the Pokeball or start the battle. And with that we have designed a way for the player to interact with the world, learn about the Pokemon and entice them to explore, since they are going to need a lot of information to keep catching Pokemon. And with this, there is a reason for you to go outside the area, collect the materials you need to come back and catch the high level Pokemon once you have the necessary lure. And if you're asking, why will I come back to catch those Pokemon? Well, because of their value. And their value is how much they can help you to interact and traverse the world. If we see my poorly designed and rendered map, we can see that there are a lot of lakes, mountains, huge areas between points of interest, deserts, volcanoes, and more. And for you to be able to move flawlessly through all of those biomes, you are going to need Pokemon, since all of them have built-in abilities depending on their race and move pool. For example, let's say you got a Rattata, and this is a group known for their scavenging abilities. So in a built-in ability, you can use their nose to find Pokemon you battled already, or search forgotten items that are everywhere in the world, or even trace certain types of crafting materials. And like this, we have Pokemon that can help swim through lakes, or Pokemon that can help you dive in certain deep waters. Rock Pokemon to help you climb mountains or break mineral deposits for more crafting items. Note that not every Pokemon can do everything. There are multiple Pokemon that can share the ability to do certain actions. Fire Pokemon to help you cook, start fires, and warm you up on cold places. Ice Pokemon to help you in warm places, as well as water Pokemon. Grass Pokemon to help you collect berries, cut trees, and even plant your own berry trees in certain downs. Flying Pokemon for flying, and with this we can see that all those things we saw at the beginning, we are the ones doing them now, in some sort of tutorial without having to be all, here are 100 paragraphs and cutscenes. Nah, I want to respect the players and let them discover the world by their own merit, with some help sprinkled here and there, if needed. They just have to be open to explore, like I said multiple times. It's like if they were put into the world of Pokemon. It's their adventure, from 0 knowledge to 100. In real life, if you were stuck here, you will try to find someone to help you, or you will experiment by your own, and that's neat. So maybe these level 25 Pokemon in the starting area have a great value when it comes to helping you. Maybe it's a Go-Goat, and you can ride it to move faster, use their headbutt to break rocks, blocking your way or blocking items. And maybe if you're lacking a water Pokemon, use it to take down trees to make bridges to cross lakes. There are a lot of ways for you to use the world, and it's physics, and your Pokemon are going to help you do it. Pause! I just want to say one more thing before moving on. So, I say how Pokemon have certain abilities to help you in specific places, but I don't want to tell the players what to do. I want them to explore and experiment, like the example I just said with the Go-Goat. So, if they see a berry, they could use Vine Whip to get it with a grass type, or cut it with a steel type or bug Pokemon to take down the tree and grab it, or use a Pokemon strong enough with Headbutt to get them, shaking the tree, or burn the tree with a fire Pokemon and get the cooked berries, or get charcoal from the tree. I'm not limiting the players, I'm making them have to use the tools they have to reach their goals. If you don't have a water Pokemon and you happen to catch a nice one, maybe instead of swimming to cross the river, you can freeze it and walk through it. Maybe like that you can even hunt for some Pokemon while the ice melts. I want this world to be a sandbox, not a freaking linear limited experience. That's why I want Pokemon from different level groups to be everywhere, so you can go anywhere and find different value in Pokemon, and go back when necessary or to complete your Pokédex. But also don't feel tangled to one Pokemon, since there are a lot of ways for you to progress through an obstacle. And trying to keep the weak Pokemon useful. Let's put the example of Rattata. It is a part of the scavenging group of Pokemon. A strong jaw is also part of its abilities and a small size. If you find an item in a really small spot with vines covering it, you can use Rattata to go in there, shoot the vines and grab the item. Something that a mighty Gina, a scavenger Pokemon with a strong jaw and rideable, couldn't do because it lacks the small size to get in there. But that doesn't mean Rattata is your only option. Pachirisu might share some of those stats too, for example. So it's just the fact of using the strengths of your Pokemon whenever you can. And yes, the value of the Pokemon are set from the beginning, meaning if you have a level 10 Pokemon, you need a lure to catch that level 35 Golduck, for example. If you have a level 70 Pokemon, you still need a lure to catch that level 35 Golduck. You need to use everything around you for it to be catchable. Other way, it will just faint, run, or just not be catchable at all. So the way the map will work is just like Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. The whole map is open and you have a lot of big areas with diverse interest points in them. For example, this beginning area is like a plateau, and it's going to be green with open areas, lots of trees, some little shallow lakes, caves and small rock formations for you to climb. But in there we also have some bigger interest points, like Applin Forest, which is a forest with applins, I think you get it. Or this little lake area, or how you can go to the sand and see the beach and there is a village almost in the end. The thing is, it being like a big green area doesn't mean it's going to be the same experience exploring this chunk of the map than the others. We have a lot of things to do, explore and discover, and with the help of your Pokemon you can make the best of it and discover more hidden areas. For example, in the map it may just look like this, but what if you can catch a Dedenne in this forest? Walk into a cave and discover that the Dedenne can light up the cave for you to explore, and you find a rock with some blue crystals and some items at the end of it. But wait, you have a Judo. What if you tried breaking the rock and after you do, you find a hidden path that takes you to a maze of connected caves that are lighted by those same blue minerals, where you can find rare Pokemon, more items and even a quest line. And if you try to enter the same cave without some Pokemon lighting it up, you can see the glow emitting from the other side of the first rock, and after breaking it you reach the same spot. Your thirst for exploration will reward you in this world. So let me show you one of my favorite parts of the map, starting with my favorite of them all, Ventre Forest. Ventre Forest can look like a really humid forest with a large lake at the center, but in reality it has a big secret. If we can find a Pokemon to use dive and the equipment necessary for us to breathe underneath the water, we can go really deep into the water body to find life underneath the forest itself, making it a truly magnificent experience for us, the trainers that dare to go into the mouth of what is known as the Ventre Forest. Or how about Catarata Mountain? It looks just like a usual big mountain with a waterfall, but it can have more secrets than what we think. Since inside the mountain we can see the enormous roots of the gigantic tree at the top of the mountain, and what are those things in the roots? Villages? Yeah, we can find villages on the top of the roots, and the tree trunks, and inside of them too, maybe even a Pokemon gym. Or maybe let's go into a warm place like the Pedrita Desert, a place filled with lots of ancient buildings that hide a wonderful and powerful history of past Pokemon wars and human empires, where a water Pokemon is needed to not pass out from the powerful heat. But how about we go to a warmer place, like the Saxum Mountains, a larger range of mountains that sprouted around the Saxon volcano. Here, an ice Pokemon and even a water Pokemon may be needed to cross this place that is swimming with lava ponds and powerful heat, and maybe with some secrets in between all of those dark clouded mountains. Or maybe we can go places with less lava, like the Natted Village. A village built in its entirety in the ocean. Floating villages filled with stores, merchants, and buildings completely designed to be fishing 24/7. Built above a crater that goes really deep into the ocean floor, told to be filled with Titan Pokemon. Wait, Titan Pokemon? Maybe the chief from the Pisces coast can explain to us what Titan Pokemon are. You see, he has a handcrafted, rustic Titan fishing pole himself, with which he hunts Titan Pokemon. Or at least that's what he says. Is it true? There are a lot more places in the world just like this, interesting with a lot of lore and wonderful characters to meet, but maybe the rest of them are for another video. For now, let's talk about those Titan Pokemon, and even let's talk some more about Alpha Pokemon. Alpha Pokemon are really strong Pokemon, as we know because of our experience in the beginning part of the game. And maybe after having that 5v1 battle, you think alphas are going to work like the Terra Raids or Gmax Pokemon battles. I mean, after 2 Pokemon games feeding us these half-baked ideas, and then living through this, I would. So it can be a surprise when you start a battle with one, finding out it's nothing like that, and you are alone against a powerful Pokemon. A Pokemon so strong that it can take your whole team alone, making them a force to be reckoned with. If you are not prepared, they can be the hardest Pokemon to battle, and they can bring fear to players, since when they enter an Alpha Pokemon domain, they are not going to stay in one place like in Legends Arceus. No, we want that Alpha Pokemon to be roaming the area it domains, so we have to be aware of our surroundings if we don't wanna end up like my man Invincible here, It gives the players an imaginary clock in which they have to do everything they need in the area before danger comes. So it makes us have to strategize ways to go around it. Wait until the alpha goes to sleep to collect certain items, or even there could be a crafting option for an alarm that we can place somewhere in our vicinity, and when it goes off, we need to get the hell out of there because that means the alpha is coming to rip us a new one. And those could be the alpha Pokemon. And the Titan Pokemon are just alpha with steroids. They are so goddamn big, it is truly a boss fight. A boss fight that may be needed in a side quest or a main quest, and to get the best equipment or items to catch Pokemon. But they are so goddamn big that here is where the chief comes around. You can use his handmade Titan fishing rod to grind water Titan Pokemon items. You can leave lures that need really niche crafting items, and when you visit again, you can see if you caught anything and then battle it to get the magnificent items that Titan Pokemon drops. And you may be thinking, well, why aren't I catching the Titan Pokemon? Surely it's strong, I want it in my team. Well, it's not necessary for every Pokemon in the map to be catchable. If you want to catch a Dragonite, well, look for Dratinis or Dragonairs, but there may be an Alpha Dragonite that roams from the feet to the top of a mountain, and beating him could be a challenge the game throws at you. But if we go to the Legends Arceus rules, after capturing it, you will have a powerful Pokemon and no need for the other ones in battle. So just make it a boss fight, not catchable, not even defeatable. Maybe when you deplete its health, it just goes to their nest and you can go there to collect Dratini eggs, and you might be saying, so what is this? Why would I waste my time fighting if I can't catch it? Well, Alpha Pokemon can give you specific materials like Alpha Scales and Alpha shit, I don't know. And you can make use of those materials to craft lures and create equipment for your Pokemon. Making use of the biomes of the world, we can create certain limits for the Pokemon as well. Maybe in cold areas, Pokemon without lots of fat or fur or without the fire typing can't endure the cold, so you can take it out of its Pokeball. This can make your best fighter take a back seat on these parts of the game, and that is obviously the idea. But what if it is your partner, your starter, and you don't want to get rid of it? How about we use all those items you've collected to craft some equipment outside of health items? So maybe with wool, some Alpha Arcanine fur, and an Arachnid Pokemon Silk, we can craft a jacket or some warm wristbands, a scarf, and a beanie for your Torterra. So now you can take it with you no matter how cold it gets. and this can work well with hot areas, sandy areas, water areas, yada 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 yada. Everything in the world needs a reason to be there. Everything is a new experience for our players, a design opportunity, and everything is worth money, so all the choices should matter. So let's make use of all kinds of Pokemon. How about we can expand the freedom in how you can collect various items? For example, there are tons of rocks blocking a flower that you want and you know it's there because your mighty Yena smelled it because you were traveling with it in your bike or in the back of your rideable Pokemon or just walking with it. And now you have to get it, so let's use the physics of the game to our advantage. We know we can destroy those rocks with a fighting Pokemon, or maybe a Pokemon that has a lot of strength with certain moves, like Granido's Headbutt, or Dubwool Headbutt. Or maybe set fire to the grass in front of it and use a wind move from a Pokemon with a giant wingspan, like a Fearow or Pidgeot, to make a lot of hot air to throw those rocks out of the way. Or use a small Pokemon like the Tene and take brief control of it to go through those rocks and grab the flower and give it back to the trainer character. Or instead of taking control of it, just making the command so he picks up the flower for you like in the new Pokemon games. Let's not leave it at that. You could use Pokemon with cut or biology to cut trees like Scyther to take down trees and use those logs to create bridges to cross rivers if you don't have any Pokemon to help you swim through it. Or use a nice Pokemon to build a path like I said earlier. There are lots of ways to make use of these creatures and exploit the world around you. Let's not forget the first thing that will bring players to the game are the creatures. So let's use them as much as we can in a way they feel fit in the world we are creating. The equipment can also make the game feel more alive, like creating incubators outside of your main party that your rideable Pokemon can wear, so everywhere you go, the eggs keeps getting closer to hatching without having to compromise the 6th spot in the party. Equipment to recharge your Pokemon electricity or portable crafting spaces. Catching Pokemon could be really hard after crossing that level 20 barrier, so you need materials to upgrade your Pokeballs to Great Balls or Ultra Balls, or we could even introduce new Pokeballs that can help us capture specific kinds of Pokemon. With this, the player can really feel inside the world of Pokemon. No BS, no half-baked ideas, we live, breathe, and we freaking see the world of Pokemon. So yeah, Titan and Alpha Pokemon are mini bosses or full-fledged bosses that can give you materials to enhance your party or catch some good-ass value Pokemons. We have the information about the Pokemon now. We have now a couple of things left to learn about, like the villages, rivals, the enemy team, endgame, legendaries, and of course the competitive scene. So let's start with villages and rivals, because what will Pokemon be without a good rival? Shit. It will be shit. Villages are going to be all over the region. Some have gyms, some don't, but all of them have opportunities for you to get new lure recipes, new information on Pokemon from the area, Sidequest, and maybe even information about legendary Pokemon in the region. Some villages have fossil researchers, some villages have houses for sale, so you may plant your own berries and build your own home to show the other players. All of them have stores for you to buy crafting materials, Pokeballs, potions, but there is some problem in the village from time to time: the enemy group. There is this enemy group doing bad stuff everywhere in the map. Let's call them the Latro team. Latro is a team of evil doers that like to steal from villages and people that are in their own Pokemon journey. Every time Latro team starts an operation, you have a certain time to reach that place to help the village defend itself. There may be attack in villages at the same time, so you need to choose carefully what village you want to protect, or they may ambush you on your journey through different areas, just like the Giga Clan from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. So, what if we are occupied in a gym leader challenge or in a dungeon and we can go defend the village? What is the repercussion if we don't help the village? Well, you may be cut off some of the best items the village can give you. Some of them can sell you new outfits after helping them, or good ass crafting materials, or stronger Pokeballs. But if you miss the call to action, the village will have less money, making their stores close for at least a couple of seasons. And some villagers succumb to the fear of attacks, blocking some side quests for a couple of seasons. So, how are we going to be able to know where the enemy team is going? I think Pokemon Rangers are one of the most underused Pokemon characters ever, since they interact with the Pokemon world a lot, and are a good team for once. And even though Game Freak is doing everything in their power to hide the rangers underneath the shelf and making us forget they exist, I think they are a fantastic option to have in an open world Pokemon game. So, when we are leaving the first area, we will find the same ranger that helped us in the beginning of the game, and he will ask us to be part of the ranger team since he was impressed with our courage, like Deku, you know? So, after we accept, he will gift us a walkie-talkie in which we will get information about the Latro team attacks on villages or actions against the wild Pokemon. And every time we help, we get a ranger point that can help us unlock the ranger outfit and one of the hardest trainer battles in the post-game against the same ranger that help us save our village. And this new interface that the walkie-talkie gives us about the action of the enemy team in the map is the same application we are going to have with our rival. An open world game means to have a lot of side quests to make use of its world and collectibles, and the Pokemon Ranger side quests are going to be our main source of them. But we can also make use of the side quests to make the world richer and learn more about the Pokemon as we always wanted to do. Side quest about helping a little kid that went missing after a Drifloon started chasing him. And from that side quest, we can get the scent from the Drifloon, so we can catch it once we are finished with the quest, or during the quest, I don't care. Or a Donphan rampage, and we learn that they love to bait in mud, so when they roll, they leave mud trails. So now we know that if we see a mud trail like the one from the quest, Donphans are nearby, making the quest fun and useful for giving us information on how to catch them all. In this game, we have 5 rivals, Irene and our 4 friends that started the journey before us, and a couple of times per season they will message us that they are doing a search and activity, and they will send us their location, giving us the opportunity to go and say hello to them and help them with the quest they are doing. There could be a lot of different activities other than a Pokemon battle, or just exploring a dungeon together. For example, collecting search and berries or helping them take a specific picture of a Pokemon. All of these missions will help you progress into the story of this rival and get to know them better. There isn't a necessary amount of missions you have to do with your rivals. You could just go ahead and not pay any attention to them. But the idea I have with this is making the player bat their own game. And what do I mean with that? One of my favorite things about Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is that everyone has a different experience playing it. We share the same big points in the story like the water temple, but how you reach it, when did you find it, and how you beat it, and the things surrounding you were 100% different than my experience. So that's something I would like to imitate here. I would love players to find their favorite rivals and spend time with them, get to know all of them, and then choose a favorite rival. And the decision we make in this part of the game, at this side quest of the game, is going to make a difference a little later into the game. Aside from the Ranger quest, which gives us internship points, the side quest of the game will be pretty standard as always, bringing certain things to some NPCs, battles, catching Pokemon, and pictures. And with this, I would like to tackle 2 different things I would love to see in a Pokemon game. In this Pokemon game, in Pokemon Aquamarine. 1, the addition of a camera minigame, just like Pokemon Snap. You could use your camera anywhere, and Pokemon interacting in the game with each other. Pokemon to Pokemon action, you know? One of the biggest selling points in the whole Pokemon franchise is the Pokemon, so let's do everything we can with them. Let's make them seem alive, just like the alpha Pokemon. I don't want them to just stay there looking at the infinite space in front of their eyes. I want them walking, interacting in the world and with one another, making this NPC side quest a way to teach the player about Pokemon hunting and actions, like maybe in Natted Village there is a guy that wants us to take a picture of Heracross with its biggest rival and tell us that Heracross sheds their skeleton near their nest. So we now have information on how to hunt this Pokemon. If we're in a forest and we see Heracross wings in the ground, a horn, etc., it means it's shedding near that place. We are close, and we have to be stealthy since they have an aggressive nature, and after we find it, we have to wait until we see Pinsir arrive, and they start fighting. So now we can take the shot, and after that we can even catch them, if you have the lures or just go finish the quest. And the NPC, after taking a look at the picture, he can tell us everything we need to know for the lure. So if we hadn't unlocked it yet, we have the lure now. And maybe if we catch a Heracross and show it to him, or to a rival of him in Cadere Village, he can tell us he is a good for nothing, Pinsir is better, and he gives us the lure for Pinsir. And that makes the characters in the world feel more alive and awesome. We are going to continue exploring and talking to NPCs because we want to find every secret. NPCs that tell us that Garchomp has a really strong claws, so they sharpen them in rocks inside caves, and if you're in a cave and see a rock full of scratches, it means there is a Garchomp nearby. And let us see Garchomp do that, let us catch them in the act. A Pidgeotto hunting near the water, and if we find a Viper's fangs in the ground, then a Zangoose fought and beat it not so long ago, it may be near, and of course, let us watch that happen if we are lucky enough. We can follow Pokemon without being detected to snap a shot of that magnificent moment for a side quest. That will be so awesome! Of course, this is not a Pokemon game that they can do in 2 years. They will need more time, and that's okay. We gotta learn to wait for amazing things instead of having half-baked games each year. And while I have been talking about all of these points, I mentioned here and there the gyms of the game, but I haven't been specific on how they will work out. So let's talk about gyms. Gym leaders will be everywhere. You will only need 8 badges to go take on the Elite 4. But there will be 12 gym leaders, so everyone can take the path they like the most instead of always having the same experience. And the gym leaders will have multiple teams depending on your gym badges and level. The first gym will always be a test, so no matter where you take it, it will always be the same level, like level 14 let's say. And it won't let you register Pokemon above that level. So if you are already level 50, you'll need to catch a level 14 team. And once you beat them, the other gyms will have your information on deck and can change teams depending on your badge cap. And because it's a challenge, they will not accept a Pokemon above the level cap they are managing, making you build a team that can take on leaders outside of your exploration team. And if you want to use your most powerful over level team, in each gym city, there is a side quest to beat the master of each gym leader. The fight will be a boss fight. The master will have a powerful team with a good AI, making you have to pay attention to the battle in particular. You might not be ready to challenge him until you're ready to go to the victory road, or maybe even after that. The gym leaders will make us do a gym challenge before accepting our battle. It can vary depending on the gym leader. Maybe it's discovering a cave somewhere in the region and exploring it and bringing a specific item. Or it can be going to a Latro team hideout and destroying it with the help of the gym leader. And ojo perro, because if you let Latro team ravage a village, they may have extra items making these battles extra hard. Some of the challenges can also be a simple minigame. With these challenges, we can start getting to know the gym leaders so we can care about them before and after the fight. Some of them even appearing in our quest with our rivals in the future. That's why you need to listen to our rivals so you can go to the gym leaders they are going to form a friendship and things like that. So gym leaders will work as always, but they will have an extra hump, making them more likable and making you choose your own path instead of doing the same gym pathing as always. Or having the gyms be open like in these Pokemon games, but keeping them in some pre-decided level, making that freedom fake. And there's one other thing I would love to change. Gym leaders always shout out their weaknesses. I'm a grass trainer, okay fire. I'm a water trainer, okay electricity. So how about instead of a grass trainer, it is a reptile researcher, making the leader have Meganium with Sunny Day, a Heliolisk with solar power, and a Salassi, a Feraligator to keep its defenses checked. So this gym leader is a researcher that is always tired but has a deep bond with his Pokemon. Or maybe a gym leader that is a pirate, the daughter of the chief, and she has Pokemon like Delmice like an anchor, Sharpedo as the one under the ship, Inteleon as a sniper, Machamp as a sword fighter, Tortunator as a cannon, stuff like that. Teams that you can't really tell what is going to throw at you, unless with the fact that they can have multiple teams. But once you see them, you can have that oh moment when you see the team. A metal guitarist with Loudred and Jigglypuff and Toxtricity, a minor gym leader, a shy intellectual girl with shy Pokemon, and looking at their team, you can learn about Pokemon that run from you in the overworld. There is a lot of character and world building we can do with this. And so, before going into the endgame, I want to talk about the legendary Pokemon and how I would like to implement it. And as you might think this is going, yeah, I'm going to use them as a world building and side quest material. Let's explore the goddamn world! Picture this, if you will, for a moment. We are running through the Folia forest. We are stepping on crunching leaves. There are a lot of Pokemon from Gen 2 in the area. The trees are orange and we are just exploring. We aren't even using a mount. But then we catch at the corner of our eyes a shine, and as we turn to see what's going on, there is a tower shining with a rainbow at the top. So we run as fast as we can towards it, and then the rainbow disappears. We reach a town with a lot of people, and we see that the entrance of the tower from which we saw the rainbow is locked. We go to the tower and talk to the guards, and they tell us that the tower is closed to the people that are from outside of the village, and we need to be declared as part of the village to get into that tower. And we speak to the store owners and NPCs, and we are told that we have to go through a challenge to be part of the village. A battle against 8 different guardians, each of them using a different evolution. A battle with no healing in between. So we go with these guardians, and they tell us to take part of the challenge, we need to have a ceremonial attire. And when we talk with the costume maker of the village, she asks us for a couple of items. We bring them to her, we take part of the challenge, we win, and now we are part of the village. The shop opens extra options. There are more places we can go into, and the people start opening up to us, so we go to the top of that tower. But there is nothing. We start talking to the villagers that have a new liking to us, and they tell us how the legendary bird Ho-Oh visits the town every year, when the leaves start to fall and the light of the rising sun makes rainbows through the falling leaves. They don't tell us as it is, but we can put together that they are talking about the season of fall and that it happens at sunrise. Then, talking to the guardians, we are told that the bird only responds to the one carrying the rainbow feather, and that it loves the taste of the Titan Gyarados whiskers and the smell of the biggest tree of the region, telling us that we need to find a feather near the tower and go beat some Titan Gyarados and fly or climb to the top of Catarata Mountain to get the materials we need. They don't tell us as it is a puzzle after all, and we need to put all the pieces together, making us explore, making us talk as if we were there. It is a complete experience. Even when we decide to play with friends, we could exchange the knowledge we have about the Pokemon in the area we are going to explore together. And okay, I know a lot of people are going to put the answers online, like the materials of the lures and where to find certain items and Pokemons, since like I've mentioned in the whole video, there are going to be seasons like in Black and White, so certain Pokemon will only appear on specific seasons, making the world feel like it's breathing. We are only living in it, we don't control it. But it doesn't bother me. Back on the day, instead of the internet, we had to talk to each other, or we had to read magazines with secrets, like the Nintendo Power. With the internet, there were blogs on how to do certain things, like the monster transformations in the Dark Cloud games. But it makes a scene of brotherhood between the players. It makes them talk and share the topic. It makes them connect with something they like. It makes a discussion, a connection, and I love that. So I don't hate the fact that these changes will make people going to the internet to search for easier answers. But going back, this is how I will make the legendaries work. A puzzle that will make you have to connect exploration with everything else in the game, making you feel there, like you are the trainer in a world with the answers at the tip of your fingers. We just need to go in search of them and be willing to explore. And with this, we are only left with 2 more things: endgame and competitive. Competitive is so simple that I'm just gonna say it real quick. We make a battle simulation arena, we can simulate any Pokemon we have caught, then we just make the EV and IV spread as we like in Pokemon Showdown, put the items we want and fight. So you can do it everywhere at any time. The only thing that is asked of you is go catch the Pokemon. So you can make the simulation out of it. That's it. So let's go to the endgame. And there are 6 possible endings to the game. One is if we just go through it without any socialization or meaningful socialization with our rivals, where we fight the number 1 trainer and then the young prodigy from the start of the game challenges us in there, in the middle of the arena after hitting our Pokemon. Or, depending on which rival you had the closest relationship, that rival is the one that challenges you at the end of the game, making you have a different experience from other players. And the team of the rival will be composed by the different quests you did. Maybe you help one of them to take a picture of a Gyarados going up a waterfall, so she might have a Gyarados in their team. Or one of them asks you to battle him in a forest full of scissors, and after losing to you, he decided to catch one from there. Stuff like that, depending on which side quest you completed with your rival of choice, the team it will have at the end of the game, making you feel like all of this was a continuous story. And at the end of the battle, each of them can have a different cutscene depending on the personality of the character. closing this game and leaving us with the post-game where we can fight the gym leaders with their best team, even the ones who didn't fought in the main story, as well as a special final side quest with our rivals and catch 2 or 3 more legendaries. Maybe even open a part of the map to go catch Giratina in the distorted world. And of course the battle with the Pokemon Ranger from the start of the game if we completed our Ranger internship. Then we can also see Pokemon contest open up, where we will have to do certain minigames to win each one and win the ribbons that may open up a secret double fight at the end, I don't know. The good part of having a giant world with a lot of characters is that we can use those personalities at the end too, to make the player say, "Damn, am I fighting him?" Like we did with Red so many years ago. Like fighting the chief, or making that character at the beginning of the game a new rival, as we need to protect our position as a champion from now on. And I know what you're thinking. Yo, what about the Battle Frontier? I for once agree with the Pokemon fans, and I think the Battle Frontier should open up in the post-game, where you can do battles with rental Pokemon to switch things up and all of that. But most important of all, open in a way to play with your friends outside of sharing the same place, exploring and battling and training. After opening up the Battle Frontier, you should be able to play minigames with your friends, a la Pokemon Stadium, with a score ladder so you can play it online too with strangers and try to be the best of the best. And also have a duo rogue-like tower, a place where you and your friend will pick 3 random rental Pokemon with random moves and play 2v2 battles trying to reach the top of the tower. There are going to be 2 different ways of playing the duo tower. One versus the computer, where you and your friends battle NPCs with random teams, and when getting closer to the top you're going to start getting more random Pokemon until you have a full team, and after that you're going to be given the option to change Pokemon for new rental ones, until you fight the Elite Four and your rivals and all of that. The hardest battles until you reach the top, and nice! You won! It's a nice duo experience with your friends and a cool way to shake things up a little. Or it could be played as a sort of battle royale online, where you and your friend will battle other players playing 2-2, with random rental Pokemon too, and each time you beat someone, they will lose and get kicked out of the tower, and the ones that win will go up the tower and the fight will continue until there is just one team remaining. And winning these sort of minigames can award you titles, and everyone that battles with you can see them, and new cosmetics for your Pokemon. This postgame is to bring more life to the competitive world of Pokemon, as well as the online presence, making it a place for some casual players, making it live for longer, and giving Poketubers more ways to have fun with their viewers. But well, the Battle Frontier brings to a close the game that in my mind will be Pokemon Aquamarine, the Pokemon game that will never exist, but I would love to play.